Dakshinamurti Sarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ramanacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Shuklam Varadharam Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Angikam bhuvanam yasya Vachikam sarvamangmayam Aharam chandrakaradhi Tam namas satvikam shivam. We've had 1.5 days of excellent talks. In yesterday, some of you were there in the Kannada talks, and some of you were here in the morning. And this morning, one thing that came up, I thought I would touch upon when Ganeshan was speaking. Ganeshan spoke about, every time I go out, whenever I meet somebody, the first question they ask me is, what is the teachings of Ramana Maharshi? Right? And I think so this is $1 million question, because each one of us, whenever we read, whatever we read, we have our own opinions. But I thought it was a very crisp answer that he gave this morning, and I thought I'll reiterate that, and we would probably discuss around that. So the first thing he said, the foremost thing that Bhagavan talks about is mauna. He always says, Summa ira, keep quiet. That's mauna. The second thing that he spoke about was, who am I? Inquire inside, who am I? And determine who you are. Once you know who you really are, then everything else is known. And the third thing is satsanga. So satsanga is everybody out here have a common thought of Bhagavan Ramana and Arunachala at this point of time. So everybody is in its satsanga. So one thing I believe, I think all of us, I see a lot of people with white hair like me. So all of us have lived long enough on Mother Earth. So we would have, realized that we have to actually go through a lot of practice in our life before we actually do anything worthwhile, right? So I thought we would also do a little practice in these 3 areas, because all the time, here listening is good, but also a little bit of practice is worthwhile. So first I thought we would touch upon the satsanga aspect, and all the great speakers who spoke yesterday and today, have also, actually talked about Bhagwan. So I thought I would share some of my personal experiences, which have been a few, because I've been with Bhagwan for the last 3 years only. I thought I'd share some of my experiences, and then so that will be part of the Satsanga. And once we are done with that, we will go and do some amount of self-inquiry, and then we will be in Mauna for a little while. So that will complete the practical session of the lot of theory that we have heard, from various great ones. So for me, it was, as Sri Ram just mentioned, I was in the industry for about close to 30 years, and I was running a life which was, every other 15 to 20 days I was on a plane to America, and just managing a company which had operations in US, and then managing operations in Bangalore. And suddenly what happened to me was, I had a basic belief in Lord Shiva. So there was sort of spiritualism at home, and our family was also linked with Swami Shivananda's ashram at Divine Life Society in Rishikesh. So, but what was happening inside me was, all the time, whenever I was doing whatever I was doing, I realized that I was always taking from the system and not giving anything back to the system. So this was a sort of a vacuum which was there inside me. If you look at, whenever we are coming, we go anywhere, you see, if there is something being given, there's a lot of rush. If there's a queue for something to give, there won't be anybody to give, right? So, but the joy in giving is 1,000,000 times more than the joy in getting. So I decided that I want to get into the other queue. I want to get off the rut of going up and down and trying to take from the system. I thought I will give back to the system. So one day, it so happened that my wife and me decided to go to Pondicherry for a holiday. So we were on the way to Pondicherry, and my sister, who's sitting here, she says, "Yeah, there's one Ramana Maharshi shrine there. Why don't you go and you do namaskara there?" I said, "Very good." So I decided that while I'm going to Pondicherry, I will go and look up Ramana Maharshi. So I went up there and sat and did dhyana. And then Ramana Maharshi introduced me to Arunachala Shiva, whatever we call Arunachala Shiva. He said, I am Ramana Maharshi, and here's Arunachala Shiva. So I said, great. So somebody said, why don't you do pradakshina of this? So we had a car, we were going to Pondicherry, so we decided to go around in the car, and then we went to Pondicherry. And we came back to Bangalore, and then my sister said, you live so close by in Mekri Circle, where we are all sitting here. There's a Ramana shrine here. Why don't you come here and do some meditation? And that's how Bhagwan introduced me to Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning. That was 3 years back. So it is, it's so strange, but at that point of time in my life, there were 3 entities. There was I was a believer in Shiva, so there was an overlap of Shiva and Arunachala, and there was the Ramana Maharshi, and there was this Venkatesh. Were three very powerful entities who were there. I thought I could do anything in my life, and same thing I thought of Ramana Maharshi, and same thing I thought of Arunachala. Each of us are powerful enough to do anything. So then I actually got into Ramana Maharshi, went to Sanjay Nagar, and that's when they started this whole. Bhagwan is like that. I know, and many of you must have heard of this Trojan horse. In the Greeks' time, there was this Trojan horse where people were hiding inside this wooden horse, and they took the opposition, the Troys, they took them inside, and then what happened? These people jumped out of the horse, and then they opened the gates, and the Greeks came in, and they won the war. That's what it is. So Bhagwan slowly came into my life, right? So as many of us are, when we start our spiritual lives, we are always in the action mode. I am doing this. I'm great in doing this. I'm a great engineer. I'm a great software person. I can manage very well. I earn so much of money. I have got this house. I've got my son who does this. So all these labels were there on this body, right? And that's how Bhagwan, at that point of time, this Trojan horse called Ramana got into this body. And suddenly what started happening, many of you must have seen this concept of termites, or these things which eat the wood. You know how they eat the wood? They will go on eating from inside. You won't realize anything from outside. If outside perfectly fine, only you will find some wood pieces coming out. So Bhagwan started acting with me like that. He slowly started actually working on me from inside. And within a period of, I think it was, then I went for 2 months for a course in Yoga Vedanta in Rishikesh, and I came back, and then Bhagwan, made me actually slowly made me good for nothing. He made me drop all these labels that I had on this body. This thing of being a CXO of a company, all these labels started slowly not mattering for me anymore. Okay? And that was a great feeling for me, because what it was, a sense of letting go. See, all of us, and this was a big thing for me, still I'm attached to a lot of things, but the grip on that is not so intense like it used to be earlier. So these things which were, when Bhagwan came into my life, these things started not mattering so much. So now I thought, if you look at this Ramananjali Ganga, so I thought we should also sing a few songs in the middle, including, like Dr. Sharda. I'm not very proficient with all the shastras of Bhagwan, but I Radha and others have taught me some bhajans, so I will sing a few bhajans as part of this session. So please join me if you please. So obviously, Bhagwan became an important part of my life. So we will praise the Lord, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. And this song obviously Ambika sings it beautifully. So Ambika, don't laugh. So, and I don't know, I went and had one of those Vicks things, and it's bothering my throat, but still I will sing. Gao nacho ao gao Raman charan stuti gao. O nacho gao gao Raman charan stuti gao. Gao nacho ao gao Raman charan stuti gao. Gao nacho ao gao Raman charan stuti gao. पाओ पाद कमलों में भक्ति में नाचो गाओ. पाओ पाद कमलों में भक्ति में नाचो गाओ. गाओ नाचो आओ गाओ रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ. गाओ नाचो आओ गाओ रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ. रमण है सद्गुरु हमारे, रमण है सद्गुरु हमारे. रमण चरण के आराधक हम, रमण चरण के आराधक हम. रमणनाथ गुरु प्रभु हमारे, रमणनाथ गुरु प्रभु हमारे. हिल मिल जुल मिल नाचे हैं हम, हिल मिल जुल मिल नाचे हैं हम, हिल मिल आनंद से नाचे गाए हम, आनंद से नाचे गाए हम। आओ नाचो आओ गाओ रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ, गाओ नाचो आओ गाओ रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ, रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ, चरण स्तुति गाओ, रमण चरण स्तुति गाओ। So I started singing a lot of. I see Ambika smiling, so she approves what I've sung. So it was really a nice journey because Arunachala was there, Shiva as a background, and Shiva, I always believed in Shiva, and here was Ramana who was coming to my life. Because what happened was, when I used to go to Rishikesh once in a while, and Rishikesh is very far, and I always used to wonder, where else can I go? I used to also go to a little while sometimes to Satya Sai Baba's ashram. Then and then suddenly Ramana comes into my life, and here's a place which is just 4.5 hours away from my place, and you can easily go there and have darshan of Bhagwan and Arunachala. So it became a beautiful journey for me, and the whole magic of my life really started from that point, because we are talking about the magic of Arunachala. So the magic of so, though I had done the Girivalam first time in my car, I decided to also go for a Girivalam, and with the entire Ramana Maharshi team, and then we did the Girivalam. It was a beautiful experience. But I was a trim and proper person. I always wanted to wear shoes. I never wanted to go without chappals. With chappals. So the first Girivalam I also did with shoes on. Everybody else was barefoot. And I said, yeah, this is a mountain, and this looks like a mountain. I've seen there is Nandi Hills here, there is the Himalayas there are a lot of hills. Okay, the God must be there in there, fine. But I wore, my feet were very important, so I decided to go around. And I finished when I was actually going through the whole process of 14.5 kilometers, it was an amazing experience internally. Because what was happening was, for 4.5, 5 hours thinking of, Ramana and Arunachala, Shiva, was a very quietening experience internally. Because the senses were used to going out all the time. The senses were I believe the 70% of the perception happens through the eyes. So all the time the objects were hitting my eyes. But when I walked through this, and I got a mantra diksha, and I went on saying that, and Arunachala Shiva, by the time I reached the 13th or 14th kilometer, I was tired. I was very, very tired. But what happened was, my mind had quietened down a lot, right? So that was a great blessing. That was the first magic that really played on me, right? Though Bhagwan was, the first magic really was Bhagwan within me, but externally the thing that showed up was this. But still in my heart I did not believe, that Arunachala was Shiva. Though everybody is saying Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, I didn't believe, because, we have all got our scientific methods of thinking. We want to see everything in front of our eyes, then only we'll believe, otherwise we won't believe. So I said, so I said, okay, I still don't believe this is Shiva, but it's okay. We started going back, and when we were leaving, at one point while coming back, about 14 or 15 kilometers from Tiruvannamalai, when we were leaving, at one point I decided to take a photograph of Arunachala. And when I took a photograph, I thought of bringing it today, but I didn't. when it took the photograph, it was Arunachala with the snake hood on top. It's a beautiful picture, but it's the snake hood on top of Arunachala Shiva. So when I actually looked at in the computer, I said, "My God, this was quite amazing," because here was the Arunachala hill with the Shiva thing, and then all my doubts that I had vanished in a fraction of a second. They all vanished, and then I truly believed that Arunachala was actually Arunachala Shiva. But still, there were three entities. The entities I was there, but I was a watered down version. I was not as powerful as I was initially, right? And Ramana was there and Arunachala Shiva was there, right? So then the process started. Okay, what is Arunachala and what is Ramana? Who's Ramana? Who's Arunachala? I was very small when I happened to Swami. Like a lot of people say, Ganeshan was seen by Swami by Ramana. Swami Shivananda has also seen me. So Swami Shivananda, as you know, was one of the great things of Divine Life Society. So he has seen me. So I said, so there was a strong belief, there was a great faith within me for the great masters. So there was never a doubt in my mind. But still, what is Arunachala and what is Ramana? Because when I started, I'm a bhakti sort of a person. I'm not a very jnana sort of a person. Who am I is a very jnana-oriented route, right? So when I started understanding this whole thing, then I said, who is Arunachala? So Arunachala was Sach Aruna. So Sach Chit Ananda. Okay? Achala. Oh, very good. So something which does not move, and it is Sach Chit Ananda. So that means, so then all these Dr. Sharda, Nandukumar, all these people started driving this information into my head. Every day we used to have meetings, satsangas, talking about Ramana. You see Ramana here, Ramana there. So what was happening was a slow transformation was happening, and then they said, like everybody said in the morning, you are that, Tatvan Asi, you are that. So then okay, you are that. What do you mean by I am that? So slowly what started happening was that Trojan horse which was inside, that was actually losing up things inside, started actually working on my senses. These senses, that eyes, nose, ears, all mouth, feel, all these things started becoming, the intensity of those things started going lesser and lesser and lesser. Okay? And this was a great transformation that happened within me, because I'm a Cancerian, I love to eat food. And imagine today, food is no more an important factor in my life, because at one point I could not stay without food. So Dr. Sharda always tells me this. So the biggest thing that I was holding on to eating has actually it's loosened out. Doesn't matter so much to me nowadays. So this internal transformation was happening, and then this Satchitananda, which was consciousness and bliss. So what is this consciousness and what is this bliss? Bliss, I'm happy. I'm all the time happy. It doesn't matter. So if I ask every year, each one of you will say, oh yes, I'm very happy. There's nothing wrong with me. The problem is elsewhere. The problem is not with me, right? The problem is elsewhere. But a lot of people will say when one finger is pointing, there are three pointing towards you, right? So what happened was I really started doing inquiry, and then I said, what is this consciousness, Satchit Ananda, existence consciousness, bliss. And then that's when I started really doing some level of meditation. And that's the point I wanted to also talk about, is all the great ones talk about practice, practice and practice. If you don't practice, there may be 100 people who come and speak in front of you, it will not get there. So you have to continuously practice to be able to understand that. So then what I started doing is I started meditating. Though I used to do initially meditation 15-20 minutes, I started doing longer meditation, and Bhagwan was working from inside. See, the grace has to be there. First of all, there must be a longing. There's a demand-supply situation, right? There is a demand from you saying, God, I want you. Then only supply will come. The Venkatesh wants me, let's see what he wants from me. Then only he will come. So Bhagwan was working from inside, and I started meditating. And that's when I realized, there's one thing that I always remembered in my life was, I always believed inside, this breathing is happening automatically. Have you ever looked at your own body? We never look at our own body, right? We take everything in this body frame take it for granted. Do we know how we are breathing? Imagine your whole life, if Bhagwan said from tomorrow onwards, you have to concentrate on your breathing. Then all your life, you will only breathe. You can't do anything else, because breathing happens automatically. Your blood pressure, your heart is beating all the time. Automatically it happens. You go and eat prasada, it gets digested automatically. Who is making all of this happen? So that's when I realized that something within me is making this body tick. This hand can't go up. They say a dead leaf also will not move without the will of God. Okay, everything to happen in this world, there has to be the will of God. So if I have to lift this hand up, this has to happen by the will of God. So what happened was, this internal process started, and then the conscious. I said, okay, I am there. I'm conscious about myself. Like what Dr. Sharda said. You are never, each one of you, I ask you, are you conscious about yourself? All of you will say, yes, I'm conscious about myself. You never doubt at any point of a time. Or, are you a human being? Yes, I never have a doubt that I'm a human being. So when I really went in and I started meditating, I realized that there's something inside me which is making that feeling that that outside is less important, inside is more important. Started again the journeys, the magic, second magic started, where the process of going inwards. Okay. Then we started going to more and more to Tiruvannamalai and Arunachala, and beautiful. There have been so many instances. And I've just put some of them together. But now that we've decided that we will go to Arunachala, and we've just sang a bhajan on Brahmana, we're going to sing a bhajan on Arunachala. So again, one of Ambika's songs, good songs. Chal Arunachal, 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 मोह से मन को ना कर घायल, मोह से मन को ना कर कायल। चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल। शोक भाग्य को दाल बदल, शोक भाग्य को दाल बदल। चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल। सब प्रश्नों का एक ही हल, सब प्रश्नों का एक ही हल। चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल, चल अरुणाचल। So we're back to Tiruvannamalai in Bhagwan's, we're doing the Girivalam, and this time, it was a different Girivalam. Earlier, my earlier first Girivalam was on the car, second Girivalam was with shoes, and the next Girivalam was without shoes. I decided from that day onwards that I'm going to do the Girivalam without shoes. And Bhagwan gave me the strength to be able to do the Girivalam without shoes. So we were walking, and Nandakumar was walking, a lot of us were walking together, and the stones were poking my feet. They were poking and poking. They were so, because at least the initial part, the road is very bad, and it was poking me, and my feet were becoming red and red. So I asked Nandakumar, what is this? My feet are all becoming red inside. Nandakumar told me, those red dots, are more precious. Those red dots are more precious than the jewels on the mukata of the Lord. Those red dots on your feet are more precious than the mukata. Then from then onwards, I stopped complaining. Right? I said, this is a beautiful experience that I'm going through, and I'm going to enjoy this process. And from then onwards, I'll never complain. And it's been such a beautiful process of doing Then the other thing that happened which was very strange, because I'm a believer. So Nandakumar used to say, we have to walk on the left-hand side of the road, not on the right-hand side of the road. I said, why have you to walk on the left-hand side of the road? No, why not right? Because right-hand side is closer to Bhagwan, the Arunachala hill. So he says, no, there are some Siddha Purushas who are walking around the same time that you are walking around the Arunachala. There are Siddha Purushas who are walking. Wow, I said, this is an opportunity to see some Siddha Purushas. When you don't know, you don't know, right? So finally I went through that whole Girivalam, and I actually did not see any Siddha Purushas, right? So much later I realized that Siddha Purushas, you have to have the right eyes to be able to see the Siddha Purushas, and I don't have the right eyes to be able to see the Siddha Purushas. But I went through the process of going around Arunachala, and each time has been a greater experience, a wonderful experience. It's every time you go around Arunachala, those temples that are there, the Shiva temples and the other temples that are around Arunachala. If some of you have not gone, please go to Arunachala. All just sing the glory of Arunachala. It's such a beautiful experience and slowly what started happening, these three people who are there, the Venkatesh and the Ramana and the Arunachala, suddenly these three started becoming two. So this Venkatesh suddenly wasn't no more an entity worth thinking about, And there was only two things that were really worth thinking about. One was Ramana and then was Arunachala, because I realized I was always in the mode of the labels that I had put on this body, and this body was not worth that at one level I believed that the body is the temple of the living God. I believed that yes, there's God, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. That was there. I believed that God was inside. But at another level, I believe that there was something greater outside, right? So so there was this Ramana there, and there was Arunachala, and the experience of walking on top of Arunachala is something unimaginable. Dr. Sharda spoke about it. I think each one of you should experience walking on top of Arunachala. I didn't feel like putting my first foot on Arunachala because I said, this is Shiva, Lord Shiva himself sitting there. After that I got to know it's Ardhanarishwara, but still I said, how do I put my first foot on Shiva? Then I saw the dog going up, I saw somebody else going up. I said, okay, I'm also going up. Okay, and I went up to Skanda Ashram, and then when I actually went and sat in to do meditation, it's another beautiful feeling. I think you must go there to sit and meditate in Skandashram and Virupaksha cave, because that's when you really understand this concept of Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. When you are there, you believe you are in the heart of Arunachala. You are actually within the heart of Arunachala, experiencing the heart. Because when you put a stethoscope on your heart, your physical heart, you'll hear that tuck, tuck sound happening. So when you are actually there, you can actually feel the presence of Bhagwan inside in the heart of Arunachala. So you should really go and meditate on Arunachala. So that was another magic moment that happened to me in Arunachala and the Virupaksha and Skandashram. So that was another magic moment, and I came down. I'll give you one more example because of paucity of time, and we need to do a little practical session also. We were all doing this Arunachala Shiva Akshara Manamalai we were doing, and on one of the Girivalams, and it so happened we were actually a bunch of 8 or 15 of us who were going from Ramana Maharshi Center, and suddenly one dog comes. One dog comes and he watches us for some time, he walks with us for some time, and suddenly the dog comes in the middle of us. It's like a circle. We're all walking, singing Arunachala Shiva, and this dog comes in the middle and starts walking with us. As if he's listening to all, Arunachala sing. We're all singing all these songs and he's listening. And dogs are very territorial, right? They don't go from one territory to the other because the other dogs will come and kill them. So this dog was a strong fellow, but he was coming aramse with us. He was listening to Arunachala Shiva. And then after some time, he would see some other dogs there. He would quietly go and make some noise. He won't fight with them. He'll make some noise and then come back again, walk along with us. So this was such a great experience. We all believed that was Bhagwan who was coming along with us, right? Because if you correlate the whole thing, the whole sequence of Operation 1 he was in the heart of the situation. We were all bhaktas going around, and he was in the middle, right, and walking through. And like Bhagwan tells us, your thought, you go out, okay, you come back. You should be able to deal with that thought. The dog would beautifully deal with that situation and come back into the circle and again keep going through, doing Arunachala Shiva Arunachala. So these are many more such magical moments that you go through. You just have to, you have to open your heart. You have to have the belief that God is everywhere, Ishavasimidam Sarvam, that God is everywhere. Everything is divine. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. Everything is perfect. Where each one of us is perfect, where I am, everything is perfect. So like even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa himself has said, how many paths, so many faiths, but all take you to the same destination. Every person has got his own combination of jnana, bhakti, karma, different yogas. That is another experience when you go through one marga of Arunachala, when you do go through the whole parikrama, you will face all the four margas you will go through. You will go to bhakti, you will go through jnana, you will do self-meditation, you will do meditation, you will do self-inquiry, and you will be in a state of bliss, continuous bliss as you go through. So as this process went on, then I realized that people told me more and more, and when I started doing self-inquiry, I realized that Arunachala and Ramana are actually one. There's no second. And then what happened was, more and more meditation as I did, I realized that actually there is nothing outside. We say the magic mountain. Where is the magic mountain? The mountain is within us. The magic is happening inside us. Arunachala is the consciousness. And who's the magician? Ramana Maharishi. So where's the magic happening? The magic is not happening outside. The magic is actually happening inside. You have to go inside to watch the magic show. And who's conducting the magic show? Ramana is conducting the magic show, and this whole Satchidananda, which is the consciousness, which is Arunachala, Aruna, which is Satchidananda, which is Achala, all everywhere is only Arunachala, and the magician is Ramana. You are just one little puppet, and the magic show is happening, but happening within you. You have to go inside. If you go outside to look for the magic show, the magic show will not be visible. But once you go inside, there's pure magic. There's magic happening every second. And when is it happening? It's not happening tomorrow. It's not happening yesterday. It is happening now. Now. Every moment in our lives, magic is happening. It is just a matter of turning inwards and believing that the magic is happening inside you. So once you believe in that, the magic mountain of Arunachala, then you will really believe that actually Arunachala is here and now. So that was the first part of the thing. I have about I have 5 more minutes. So okay. So what we will do is we'll do at least self-inquiry. We'll do for 5 minutes. So Ramana said, all the problem of all issues, the bane of the whole society is thoughts. Right? Where are the thoughts? Thoughts are in your mind. Where is your mind? I don't know where the mind is, right? Mind is no organ in the body, right? In biology, we never learned about an organ called the mind. So there's no mind. Mind is full of thoughts. Okay, so if you are able to control your thoughts, what will happen? You will be in a state of bliss. So Ramana says, if you go to the source of any thought, okay, if you're getting angry, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, what will happen to anger? Anger will go away, right? So if you have gone to a dentist, many of you have gone to a dentist, he will say, focus on your nostrils. Focus on your nostrils. When you focus on your nostrils, what happens? You don't worry about the tooth. And the pain of the tooth pain also reduces. So similarly, if you actually go to the source of the thought, what will happen to the thought? Thought will slowly go away. First what will happen, the intensity of the thought will be reduced, and after some time, those thoughts will vanish. Okay? So we will do Bhagwan has a simple process for doing self-inquiry. He says, close your eyes. Let's all close our eyes, please. Sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. feet on the ground so that you're comfortable enough. So don't drop off the chair. And what we close our eyes, we focus on the nostrils. We don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about what I say till I say so. So you really focus on your nostrils, and as you watch your breathing, you realize the thoughts are coming in from somewhere your stomach area, somewhere in the chest area. Thoughts are coming up, right? Thoughts come up. So whenever a thought comes, the beauty about thoughts is they will come only one at a time. Two thoughts cannot come at one time. So that is the easy thing for us. So close your eyes, don't keep, and nothing is going to happen here. Please remember, everything is happening inside you. Nothing is happening outside you, right? So as you watch the thought coming, okay? So you are thinking, what is this Venkatesh trying to do? Okay, so that thought may be coming from inside, okay? As the thought comes, catch the thought and ask, for whom is this thought? Ask it silently, for whom is this thought? That means you're asking, yochne yaarge. So answer is, for me. Obviously the thought is for me. Yochne nange. The answer is, the thought is for me. Nan yaro. Who am I? So when you next thought comes, ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. Ask, for whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? Another thought comes. For whom is this thought? For me. Who am I? So you can slowly open your eyes. So it was a very simple thing. Now we actually did what Bhagwan has mentioned, this self-inquiry. We spent about 2 minutes doing the self-inquiry. Bhagwan says, spend 15 minutes of your time every day doing self-inquiry. So whenever thought comes, ask for whom is this thought? For me, who am I? You could be sitting anywhere in the house, anywhere in the bus, anywhere. And then what happens? You will find that peace inside you. Right? How many of you became quiet inside? How many of you experienced quietness inside? So, many of you experience quietness inside. So, where was the quietness? Is it something that I was talking? I was saying, look inside and all. I did not give peace. Actually, the peace is inside you. The peace is nowhere else outside. So, Ramana says, the source, Bhagwan, everything is within you. So, you have to just go and spend 15-20 minutes of your time doing self-inquiry. When you do self-inquiry, what happens? You'll realize that the source is actually within you. And when you realize that the source is within you, you will learn to be happy by yourself. How many of us actually are happy by ourselves? If I remember myself, I could never stay alone in a house. I always wanted somebody always next to me because I was not at peace with myself. Today, I am at peace with myself. I don't need anybody with me. I don't have any external leanings. Okay? So when you do self-inquiry, you will realize the peace is actually within you. There is these thoughts which are coming very fast, become slower and slower. And at points there will be, when you actually do self-inquiry, there won't, for a fraction of a second, there won't be any thoughts. When I used to do self-inquiry, I used to think, will I stop thinking? No. All the great ones have said in the morning and yesterday that your whatever this body has to do, it will do. But your only job as human beings, we have got this janma after lakhs and lakhs of janmas. The only purpose of this life is to realize self. Realize self which is within you. It's nowhere outside. Nobody in your whole, your wife, your children, your assets, your car, house, gold, nothing is going to give you happiness. But you're the self which is within you. So please, it's my humble request. I have got tremendously benefited in the last 3 years, close to 3 years. As a sadhaka, for me, it's been a blessing because, at Ramana Maharshi Center, we are constantly in doing Ramana's work. So we constantly think of Ramana. But many of you also, in your personal lives have ample amount of time to be able to think of Ramana and Arunachala. Do self-inquiry, and I'm telling you, you will be a different person in a very, very quick span of time. And then you will realize that Bhagwan is actually not sitting there. It's not in that. He's not in that Arunachala. He's not anywhere else, but actually he's within you. Each one of us is divine. Each one of us is divine. When we do namaste, we actually don't do namaste to the body. We do namaste to the divinity which is actually in the other person. So how many people are sitting here? That many Ramanas are there. Only we have to be able to go inwards and feel His presence. And once you feel His presence within you, you will be in a constant state of bliss. Nothing in this world. Okay, even if a plane crashes, even if anything happens, nothing will bother you. Because you realize you're not this body, you're not this mind, you're not this ego. You're that pure consciousness which is omnipresent, omnipotent and omniscient. And that's what you really are. And for the consciousness, there's no birth, there's no death. You are always there. You always exist. Thank you for your patient hearing. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala.